Right now on Morning News Now, a show of force at the DNC from two of the party's heavy hitters. Barack and Michelle Obama offered a ringing endorsement of the Democratic ticket while blasting former President Trump.
His limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hard-working, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black. Who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
Highlights from night two, including the former Trump White House official who offered some scathing words for her former boss. Also this morning, plea for peace. Secretary of State Antony Blinken back from the Middle East and warning that time is of the essence to reach a deal for a ceasefire in Gaza, the main sticking point as the fate of the latest U.S.-backed proposal hangs in the balance. Plus, as students return to school, COVID cases are on the rise. The spike stoking fears we could see more students forced out of the classroom. We'll talk to the Secretary of Education to find out what's being done to help kids stay safe and in school. And there's no place like home. We have an update to a more than two-decade quest to bring home the most famous shoes in Hollywood history. Home really being Judy Garland's home.
Exactly. Not just Hollywood, but Minnesota
exactly.
history. She's the pride of Minnesota. Good to have you with us. I'm Joe Fryer.
And I'm Savannah Sellers. We begin this morning with day 3 of the Democratic National Convention getting underway today in Chicago. And Vice President Harris's running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, he is set to take center stage. Walz will be the convention headliner tonight, where he will formally accept the vice presidential Democratic nomination. The military veteran and former congressman was selected by Miss Harris as her VP pick just 2 weeks ago. Last night, Vice President Harris and Governor Walz took part in a campaign rally in Milwaukee, in the same city and actually the same venue where Republicans held their convention last month.
Their appearance in Milwaukee was actually timed, so they came out at the very end of the ceremonial roll call of the states in Chicago. Later, Democrats heard from Ms. Harris's husband, Second Gentleman Doug Emhoff, and Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. Night 2 was headlined by former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama. Here are some of the highlights.
Wherever she's needed, however she's needed, Kamala rises to the occasion. And she did it for me and our family. And now that the country needs her, she's showing you what we already know. She's ready to lead.
Kamala has shown her allegiance to this nation, not by spewing anger and bitterness, but by living a life of service and always pushing the doors of opportunity open to others. Who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
History will remember Joe Biden as an outstanding president who defended democracy at a moment of great danger. And I am proud to call him my president, but I am even prouder to call him my friend. Who's thinking about my future, about my children's future, about our future together? One thing is for certain, Donald Trump is not losing sleep over that question.
NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez is in Chicago covering the convention and joins us with the latest. Gabe, good morning. It was another jam-packed night on the convention stage. The Obamas returning to their hometown really to fire up Democrats. What were some of the key takeaways?
Oh, hi there, Joe. Good morning. Well, the crowd here was electrified, as you mentioned. Virtually no one left this arena before former President Obama was done speaking. But many people here say the highlight of the night was Michelle Obama's speech. And it was a speech really looking forward. She barely mentioned President Biden at all. Former President Obama did talk about President Biden. But let's take a listen to more of what he had to say.
He killed a bipartisan immigration deal written in part by one of the most conservative Republicans in Congress that would have helped secure our southern border, because he thought trying to actually solve the problem would hurt his campaign. Do not boo. Vote. America's ready for a new chapter. America's ready for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
And there you heard former President Obama really making the case against former President Trump. Again, the reaction here in the arena was just incredible to watch.
Gabe, we also heard from former Trump White House Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham. She was open in disavowing her former boss. She voiced her support for Vice President Harris, told us some things from behind closed doors in the Trump White House. Tell us what she had to say.
Yeah, it was really remarkable to see the former Trump press secretary here addressing Democrats. Let's listen to some of what she told the audience.
I saw him when the cameras were off. Behind closed doors, Trump mocks his supporters. He calls them basement dwellers. On a hospital visit one time when people were dying in the ICU, he was mad that the cameras were not watching him.
She also said that the breaking point for her was the January 6th attack on the Capitol. Joe and Savannah.
Gabe, tonight Minnesota Governor Tim Walz will address the convention. What do we expect to hear from him and anyone else big hitting the stage?
Yeah, that's right. Well, former President Clinton is expected to speak tonight, as is former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. But yes, as you said, Governor Tim Walz taking center stage today. And the goal for him will be to introduce himself to the country, as he's done for the last several weeks since becoming Kamala Harris's running mate. We expect him to focus on his history, 24 years in the Army National Guard, and to talk about his experience as a high school football coach. But again, Governor Tim Walz taking the stage today ahead of his running mate, Kamala Harris, here tomorrow.
All right, Gabe Gutierrez in Chicago. Gabe, thank you so much.
Let's stay on this and bring in NBC News senior national politics reporter Jonathan Allen. John, good morning. We first got to start by talking a little bit more about former First Lady Michelle Obama addressing the convention last night. First, let's listen to more of what she said.
It's up to us to remember what Kamala's mother told her. Don't just sit around and complain. Do something. So if they lie about her, and they will, we've got to do something. If we see a bad poll, and we will, we got to put down that phone and do something. If we start feeling tired, if we start feeling that dread creeping back in, we got to pick ourselves up, throw water on our face, and what?
You very smartly pointed out in a new piece last night comparisons between her remarks last night and when she addressed the DNC back in 2016. Kind of a vibe shift here. What's standing out to you?
Yeah, good morning, Savannah. Good morning, Joe. What stands out to me is that in 2016, Michelle Obama said to the Democratic National Convention audience, when they go low, we go high. That was then, Savannah. Now she was making the case for Kamala Harris, whose slogan is "When we fight, we win." Very different than that appeal to the sort of urbane approach to politics. And I think, Michelle Obama tried to bridge that gap. She said, "Don't be petty." Of course, as she was saying that, she was saying Donald Trump is petty. But she told Democrats they should have higher aspirations. So there was sort of a callback to that 2016 mantra. And yet at the same time, here she was delivering some tough blows to Donald Trump, including saying that he might be surprised to find out that job he seeks is one of those quote-unquote black jobs that he has been talking about.
John, we heard just a moment ago from former Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham openly discussing her time with her former boss, Mr. Trump. It wasn't just her. I mean, late last night, we heard from the Republican mayor of Mesa, Arizona, who said he felt more at home at the DNC. What's the strategy here with Grisham and others like her?
I think they're trying to provide a model, or a couple of models at least, for Republicans, Republican-leaning independents who are fed up with Donald Trump, but don't consider themselves Democrats, to cross the aisle, to cross that partisan divide and vote for Kamala Harris. And so here you have two examples right there, and we know of others of Republicans who have basically said, to heck with Donald Trump, a pox on his house, and that they're going to join the Democrats.
Finally, let's talk about what we are going to see later tonight. Running mate Tim Walz, he is scheduled to address the convention. What are you looking to hear from him?
I mean, I think this is really his big moment, his big introduction. We've seen him, of course, on the campaign trail a little bit, but millions of Americans won't have paid that much attention to that. And we'll be watching this convention speech tonight. And, I think there are a couple of things. Number one, does he instill confidence in the public that he could take over the job day one if necessary, if something were to happen to President Harris? And I think, number two, I'll be watching to see how well he makes the case for her. I mean, that's essentially the job of the vice presidential candidate. And one last thing, of course, number three, how he hits Donald Trump.
John, as always, we appreciate you. Thank you so much. Great reporting.
Today, believe it or not, marks exactly 1 month since President Biden dropped out of the race after losing support among Democrats, including young voters. NBC News correspondent Shaquille Brewster visited Battleground, Wisconsin, and spoke with those young voters to see if the past month has changed their minds.
President Biden out.
Pass the torch to a new generation.
Vice President Harris in.
We are joyful warriors.
And trying to rebuild support from a key part of the Democratic coalition.
President Biden is getting big warning signs.
Back in December, as polls showed Biden's support from young voters crashing, we traveled to Dane County in Battleground, Wisconsin, and learned the war in Gaza was a big part of the reason why.
He is allowing this war to happen and is funding this war.
I think after October 7th, the question became a matter of human rights.
Do you plan on voting for him this time around?
No, not anymore.
Since then, a lot has changed.
Yeah.
With Biden off the ticket, we asked those same voters where they stand now.
Right now, I'm leaning towards voting for Kamala Harris, but there's many months to go.
I want to vote for Kamala, but that depends on her policy change in terms of Gaza.
They're part of a big shift. Back in June, Biden led Trump by just 6 percentage points among voters under 30 nationwide. By late July, Harris's lead had grown to 18 points.
You told me you were considering voting third party in this election when we last spoke. How are you feeling now?
I'm kind of up in the air. I'm really a bit torn. I also want to vote for Kamala here because I live in a swing state and would really like to avoid another Trump presidency.
What Harris says about Gaza, these voters say, will be key.
Talking about an issue in a more empathetic way, for example, makes a big difference for a lot of people.
You feel like Harris is doing that in the way that
Biden has literally not been able to.
I'm much more excited about the candidate now than I was about Biden.
An opportunity with young voters that comes with a warning.
That can change really quickly. It's a two-way street.
Shaquille Brewster, NBC News, Madison, Wisconsin.
Well, the economy is another hot-button issue on Americans' minds ahead of the election. The big picture suggests inflation has gone down in the last couple of years under the Biden administration. But NBC News correspondent Stephen Romo spoke to some potential voters in Pennsylvania who feel like their grocery bills are telling a different story.
The World Bank is saying that the American economy is exceptional. What do you think about that?
That would be news to me because it is not exceptional in my tax bracket. I know that.
For Dina Wright, a small business owner and mother of a 16-year-old in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, a trip to the grocery store tells her all she needs to know about the economy.
Prices are expensive.
Wright gets help from the Warminster Food Bank, where Mike Serino is the director.
When I took over April of 2020, we had 400 families. Right now, today, we're doing 3,000. That's a 7.5 times increase.
The Biden administration has been quick to point out real gains in the economy.
Wages up, inflation down, way down, and continuing to go down.
And Biden isn't wrong. Inflation has improved significantly from its high of 9% in 2022 to 2.9% in July. Despite big picture economic improvement, there's a disconnect for Americans like Wright. Pew polling shows nearly 2/3 think inflation is a big problem. Why are people, despite all of this, still feeling so stretched?
Their incomes have not increased much. And at the same time, they have to face very steep increases over the last 4 years.
The real purchasing power of wages has only grown about 1% in the last 4 years, which is what we typically saw in a single year pre-pandemic. This could contribute to a sense of just keeping up instead of thriving for many Americans.
We economists tend to see things from now on how things are going to be in the future.
So while economists might have a positive outlook based on trends and data, the average American is relying on how affordable necessities are right now. Food prices increased about 20% over the past 4 years, which is about what they increased over the decade prior. Low-income households that spend about a third of their income on food are going to feel the price increases more than high-income households that spend just 8%. It's something Serino sees at his food bank.
They miss one paycheck. They have to make an unconscionable choice between your utilities and food, between gas and food.
Leaving families like Wrights to make some hard choices.
Yeah, it's difficult just to get by with your basic needs.
Stephen Romo, NBC News.
We will have much more politics, much more from the Democratic National Convention throughout the day here on NBC News Now. Our extensive live coverage is going to get underway at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then we'll have primetime coverage on NBC News Now and NBC starting at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific.
Time now for weather. The summer heat continues to spread across the South this morning.
We have Angie Lassman here with the latest on the possible record-breaking temperatures. Angie, good morning.
Good morning, guys. We've also got some chilly temperatures to talk about. I don't know if you've noticed, but it feels a little cool around these parts, and here's why. We're stuck in this kind of weather pattern that's going to be slow-moving, so we're not going to see a lot of changes as far as where that heat is confined. Notice most of it is across parts of the southern plains, but we will see that kind of expand, that heat dome, into the plains here as we get into tomorrow. Notice what happens for the Northeast. We'll kind of start to moderate out across the Midwest too, but off to the west, that's where temperatures will be a little cooler than average as we have a deepening storm that's going to work into the Pacific Northwest by the weekend. In the meantime, here's what you have to look forward to over the next couple of days. It feels like fall essentially in some of these spots. We're waking up to some 40s, some 50s on the cooler side for this time of year for sure, even though we are getting into late August and starting to kind of transition into fall pretty soon here. But temperatures will only top out into the low 70s for Pittsburgh by Wednesday. Notice New York City today, 74 degrees, a little warmer tomorrow on Thursday into the upper 70s, but really only into those low 80s by Friday. If you're looking for more of that kind of summertime weather, you'll get that in place across parts of the Great Lakes. Same kind of pattern as well. Now, the South, a different story. You might notice I mentioned that heat dome. It shows how it's going to stick around over the next few days. San Antonio, 107 today, 104 by Thursday. We really only kind of dip into the upper 90s for most of these locations here as we get even through the end of our work week. Triple digits for Houston Wednesday and Thursday. We see the high 90s Wednesday and Thursday in Dallas, and even the triple digits across the board for Amarillo over the next couple of days. This is going to stick with us. Those cooler conditions and even a little bit of mountain snow is possible by the weekend here. As we look out west, it'll remain unseasonably cool for folks there, so we'll have to watch for that. In the meantime, great conditions across most of the east. We have a couple of severe storms that we'll track across parts of the Rockies and maybe some interior areas of New England dealing with some rain. But otherwise, it's Florida where we'll have still that unsettled kind of pattern with the stationary front sticking around. It's kind of draped across the northern parts of the peninsula, and that means that there's the potential for some flash flooding today, guys, and potentially tomorrow, too.
It's that time of year where you have triple-digit temperatures and the potential for mountain snow.
And you just don't know what to wear.
Exactly.
That's where I'm at.
Except for up here, it's a great day.
Today,
yeah. I love that. Thanks,
Thank you,
Angie.
Angie.
Well, climate change and rising temperatures are leaving people who work outside especially vulnerable to the heat.
We want to show you some video of a UPS driver who passed out at the wheel near Dallas before crashing his truck into a tree. Now, the drivers' union says that he was suffering from heat exhaustion and is now recovering. But as NBC News correspondent Jesse Kerr shows us, new artificial intelligence technology could help keep workers safe.
Less than 3 hours into the workday, Rogelio Baltazar is already soaking through his shirt. It's almost 90 degrees before 9 a.m.
It's just like you're in a big oven.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, you really just praying to go home.
On this fern farm north of Orlando where Baltazar clears the brush, it doesn't even take that long for the heat to become dangerous.
Some research shows on an average workday, almost half of these workers will see their core body temperature climb to dangerously high levels before noon. Is there any way they are replacing enough of the fluids in their body with how much they're sweating?
No. And in fact, what we have found in our studies is that by the end of the workday, 81% of them are dehydrated. Hola!
Emory University researcher Roxana Chicas says for especially vulnerable farm workers, These conditions can cause chronic kidney issues and even kidney failure. When heat stroke happens, body temperature can rise to 106 degrees in just minutes.
For these workers who have limited access to health care, many do not have health insurance, it's a death sentence.
To save lives, Emory and Georgia Tech developed these experimental biopatches. With data from the patches, Chicas' team is developing an artificial intelligence model that will predict heat illness.
The idea that you can prevent someone from getting sick, that you can prevent people from becoming patients. This is what this technology offers.
With climate change and rising temperatures, heat-related deaths are spiking. More than 2,300 in the U.S. last year alone.
Participant 145.
Chicas is focused on particularly vulnerable farm workers. Antonia Hernandez and her daughter are part of the research project in Florida.
She said that physically it's really hard to work out in the field because sometimes you just want to sit down. But then you remember you have dad, you have children, so they just have to keep going and going.
Their work exhausting and dangerous, with researchers hoping AI can soon be life-saving. Jesse Kirsch, NBC News, Pearson, Florida.
Still to come on Morning News Now, new video showing the dramatic moments before a super yacht went down in a storm off Sicily. We are in Italy with the latest on the search.
First, though, after his 9th trip to the Middle East since the war in Gaza began, Antony Blinken is returning home without a ceasefire deal in place. Why he says time may be running out. Up next.
Welcome back. U.S. officials say they expect ceasefire talks to continue this week as Secretary of State Antony Blinken leaves the Middle East with no deal in place. Blinken wrapped up a tour of the region by meeting with leaders from Qatar and Egypt, two key mediators in the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Before departing from the U.S., Blinken warned that time is of the essence to get the deal finalized.
Israel has now accepted that proposal. I heard that directly from Prime Minister Netanyahu. Over the coming days, we are going to do everything possible to, one, get Hamas on board with the bridging proposal. This needs to get done, and it needs to get done in the days ahead, and we will do everything possible to get it across the finish line.
NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us now from Tel Aviv. So, Raf, talk about the main sticking point here. I know, as you explained to us this week, it centers around Israel's demand to control 2 strategic corridors in Gaza, right?
Yeah, Joe, that's right. Israel says it needs to retain control of 2 key areas. The first is the Egypt-Gaza border. It says its troops need to remain there to stop Hamas smuggling weapons back in through tunnels underneath that border. And Israel also wants to hold on to a series of checkpoints in northern Gaza. And they say that is critical to stop Hamas fighters returning to the north of the Strip, where they could threaten the kibbutzim along the border, but also the major cities further into Israel. From Hamas's perspective, that is a non-starter. They are saying Israeli forces need to withdraw, and Secretary Blinken is saying the U.S. will not accept a long-term occupation of Gaza by Israeli troops. Take a listen.
The United States does not accept any long-term occupation of Gaza by Israel. More specifically, the agreement is very clear on the schedule and the locations of IDF withdrawals from Gaza, and Israel has agreed to that.
So a U.S. official saying comments from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu about these locations are not helpful, but we should say the U.S. says Israel has agreed to this ceasefire proposal laid out by the United States. They say Hamas at this point is rejecting that proposal. Now, this same senior official is saying that the U.S. does not consider Hamas's rejection at this point to be its final word on the matter. We are still in a negotiating situation. Talks will continue on Friday in Cairo, but it is no longer clear that American hopes of getting to a ceasefire deal quickly are going to materialize. Jeff.
Ralph, let's talk about the situation inside Gaza. Our NBC News teams there have captured the aftermath of an Israeli strike on a school housing displaced Palestinians. The Israeli military says it was targeting a Hamas stronghold inside the school. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, Joe, so this strike yesterday west of Gaza City at a school, one of the many, many schools where Palestinian civilians have fled to in search of shelter. Gaza's civil defense say at least 20 people were killed. They're saying most of them were women and children. Israel says Hamas regularly hides inside of schools, knowing that Israel will find it difficult to attack them there. Israel says it took a number of precautions in this case, including using smaller munitions. But you can see from the images on your screen there, shot by our unbelievably courageous colleagues inside Gaza, the scale of the destruction in that school is massive. And those crews that you're seeing on your screen, our team watched as they pulled body parts from underneath the rubble. Joe.
Raf Sanchez. Raf, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Coming up, with back to school season in full swing, COVID cases are spiking.
So what can you do to make sure your child stays safe and in the classroom? We're going to sit down with the Secretary of Education next.
We are back with an all too familiar fear plaguing millions of parents and students across the country as they head back to school: the threat of COVID.
The CDC says more than 30 states are seeing a spike in COVID cases, which is the biggest summer COVID wave we've seen in 2 years. Some experts worry it could keep kids out of the classroom once again. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona joins us now with more on this and many of the other issues impacting students and families as students head back to school. Secretary Cardona, good to have you with us this morning. Let's start with COVID and talk about the impacts of it. The government gave $190 billion in federal funding to help students recover from that pandemic learning loss that we saw. 2 research studies released over the summer revealed that investment did provide modest improvements in students' performance, but we're still not back to where we were back in 2019. So just how far behind are students right now? And in your mind, how do we get back to where we need to be?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Really happy to be here. Really exciting time of the year. As a parent of 2 college-age students, this back to school time is really an exciting time across the country for our students to really re-engage. And you're absolutely right. We are making gains in terms of academic progress, and we're not at the levels from before the pandemic, which is why we are continuing to put our foot on the gas pedal, making sure that we're pushing for programming after school, academic enrichment, and making sure that we're giving our students the best opportunities to succeed. We are seeing good use of the American Rescue Plan dollars that President Biden put forward, but we have to keep moving forward. We're fighting for budgets for education for our schools that show that we are committed to making sure our students succeed. And, with regard to the most recent COVID information that you're sharing, look, we have to be precautious. We're going to keep our schools open. Our kids need to go back to school. Take the regular precautions you normally take if there's a spike in your area. CDC is updating their information. Full steam ahead for a great school year.
One of the other things that we saw spike during this, Secretary, was teacher burnout, of course. And we actually have some new numbers. A recent poll, this comes from the country's largest teacher union. It revealed that more than half of teachers, 55%, say they plan to leave the classroom sooner than they originally planned. I mean, that sounds like a big concern. That sounds like it leads to teacher shortages. What are you seeing? What are you hearing from teachers? And how do we tackle this?
It certainly does, and I think this is something that I'm glad you're bringing up, because I think across the country, we need to recognize how important it is to make sure that our schools have highly qualified teachers that are supported. I often talk about the ABCs of teaching, right? Providing agency, better working conditions, and competitive salaries to our educators. This is something that I feel, a teacher shortage to me is a symptom of a teacher respect issue. So let's continue to support our public schools. We are working really hard at the federal level. We've seen over 30 states increase teacher salaries over the last several years. We've been really pushing that. We've increased teacher apprenticeships, meaning you earn while you learn. The days of student teachers working for 4 months for free has to be in our rearview mirror. We're promoting internships and paid apprenticeships for our student teachers. And we're seeing an increase. We're seeing those data are starting to turn around. We've already increased and surpassed some of the drops that we've had due to the pandemic, but there's still ways to go in terms of making sure that every classroom has a highly qualified teacher. This is the best profession, so we have to do more across the country to really energize people to getting into this profession. But we also have to make sure we're paying competitively and supporting our educators when they're in the classroom.
Secretary Cardona, when we talk about burnout, one of the frustrations for some teachers is things like banned book lists and anti-LGBTQ plus policies passed by some state and local governments. In your mind, what's the impact of some of these policies? And at the federal level, is there a way for you to get around them?
Yeah, that's a great question. When I talk about better working conditions for educators, and this is our teachers, our paraprofessionals, our school principals, I'm also talking about the nonsense that's made its way into the classroom, the political division. I feel very, very firmly as a lifelong educator. I started off as a fourth grade teacher. I feel pretty strongly that this is all an attempt to destroy public education. We have a lot of state leaders that are pushing private vouchers to destroy public education. And while they try to destroy public education, I'm going to fight to defend it. Public education is the reason why I'm Secretary of Education. It's given me the opportunity. It's opened doors for me as a first-generation college student. So whether, every year they choose a new boogeyman, whether it's the mask, transphobia, book banning, CRT. Look, parents know a strong relationship with their classroom teacher, a well-supported school is going to give their children the best opportunity to succeed. In the Biden-Harris administration, at the Department of Education, we're focusing on what parents really want. They want well-supported schools. They want mental health supports for their kids. They want academic acceleration, and they want to make sure their kids have an opportunity to succeed. And oh, by the way, they don't want to be paying college loans for the rest of their lives. That's what we're focusing on the Biden-Harris team.
Secretary, I know you are very passionate about student mental health. One of the times that we went out into a school together was a couple years ago when a youth risk behavior survey came out that was quite concerning, really high levels of hopelessness, things like that, with young people, especially young girls. In the most recent YRBS, we actually saw some improvements, which is good news. But when we were out, you had announced at the time a lot of money that you were funneling into schools to try to make differences on campuses. What impact have you seen? Have you seen a real change in the mental health of students where campuses have those types of resources? And what is coming for students this school year?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Look, as I said before, I'm a father and I'm an lifelong educator, and I know even before the pandemic, we weren't adequately addressing mental health needs of our students. We were taking what I called an emergency room model approach, meaning after the trauma happens, then we address it. So what we're seeing, and thanks to the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act, about $2 billion has been pushed into our schools to support mental health, to create safety plans. We're seeing a continuum of services. And when we talk about good mental health support for students, it's not just having additional social workers in the school, which is critically important. It's also talking about having after-school programs for kids, having clubs like theater or athletics to get kids engaged. Schools are communities for our students. So what we're seeing across the country is more students have had access to after-school programming, to that sense of community that we know our students need, in addition to approximately 14,000 more mental health providers in our schools, thanks to the work of President Biden putting more dollars for mental health. So we are seeing an uptick. It's not a surprise to me. We need to continue to make sure that our schools are places where all students' needs can be met, and that includes their emotional and mental health needs. In order for students to be successful academically, they have to feel well, and we have to do a better job across the country changing the narrative to say that services can be provided in school.
Secretary Cardona, as always, it's wonderful to talk to you. Thank you very much for joining us this morning, and happy back to school season.
Thank you. Thank you.
Speaking of mental health, time now for our weekly checkup. This morning, we're looking at how the simple act of stretching could have major benefits long after you work out.
We're also going to look at why researchers say you may want to rethink that second cup of coffee. NBC News medical contributor Dr. Vin Gupta joins us now to break it all down. Dr. Gupta, good morning. So we know stretching is an important part of any workout, but this new study, it's kind of interesting. It shows a good stretch may also help you live longer. Specifically, what did we learn?
Well, good morning, Savannah. That's exactly right. We found that people that stretch end up being more flexible, and we can actually quantitate that. And that it helps with reducing your risk of dying, and it expands your health span, your lifespan, reduces things like falls. And so I think there is that notion here that if you're more flexible, you're going to be safer, especially as you age at home. So definitely get your stretches in throughout the day.
I played tennis recently, and it was the first time in a while. Hamstrings. That was what got me. I did not stretch the hamstrings enough. All right, Dr. Gupta, new research presented at an American College of Cardiology conference found consuming too much caffeine may raise your risk for heart disease. So how much caffeine are we talking about here, and what does it do to the heart?
Well, so this, Joe, this specifically said 400 milligrams of caffeine or more. So what does that actually mean? That's about 4 cups of coffee in a given day. So moderation here is key. What we're noticing is if somebody's drinking 4 or more cups of coffee, that is increasing blood pressure and heart rate, but not surprising because that does rev up your nervous system. It does rev up your heart rate. And so these are, I think, pretty unsurprising links here. So moderation.
Finally, this is also very interesting. Maybe it's time for some construction paper, some scissors, some glue. A study shows arts and crafts could help boost your mental health. What's this one?
Yeah, no, so Savannah basically said that people, especially as they age, if they participate in activities like arts and crafts, it reduces anxiety levels, actually leads to greater levels of satisfaction day over day, week over week. And so something to be said about hobbies that are meaningful. But there is this sense here that if we can keep yourself busy, mentally occupied, that's going to help with just satisfaction day over day.
I know, like, you got adults coloring nowadays. Yep. That's like a huge
toys.
Relaxation.
Yeah.
Is that an art and craft, or is that just?
It's a childlike
I'm just
activity.
thinking of the play, I guess, the play of getting your mind back into that. All right, Dr. Vin Gupta, good to have you with us this morning. Thank you so much. All right, coming up, a judge set to hear arguments in the federal tax case against Hunter Biden.
After the break, we'll dig into the fight over evidence and what it means for the president's son. Stay with us. Welcome back. Dive teams are back in the water off the coast of Sicily this morning, searching for 6 people, including 2 Americans and a British tech tycoon who are aboard a super yacht when it sank. NBC News international correspondent Claudio Lavanga is in Sicily, and he joins us now with the very latest. Claudio, good morning. Let's start with these search efforts. Where are the crews searching? What have they found?
Good morning, Savannah. Well, literally, they are searching behind me about half a mile from here, which is the town of Porticello, a small fishing village close to Palermo. Right over there is where that yacht sank early on Monday morning. And I don't know whether you can see it. Probably there are only dots at the end in the distance. There are about 4 or 5 boats from the Italian Coast Guard with specialized divers who are diving to the bottom of the seabed about where the shipwreck of the Bayesian is currently now. He's lying on the seabed at about 160 feet under the water surface, which is making the search operation and the search for the 6 people who are still missing very difficult. I spoke to some of those divers early this morning, and they told me that it is difficult to get down there because, first of all, it's very deep, and so by the time they get there, they only have 10 minutes before they need to go back up and then be replaced by another team of divers, so not much time. The reason is, of course, first the oxygen, but also the pressure at depth. Also, they say it's been made difficult by the fact that there is no opening into the yacht, and there is a lot of debris, and they can't reach the cabins of the yacht where they think the 6 missing people are. They think that, of course, they didn't manage to get out of their cabins on time when it sank so quickly that night, Savannah.
Claudio, there, of course, are so many questions about how this happened. There is some new information from the investigation about what may have caused the ship to sink. What do we know?
Well, an investigation, of course, has now been opened on what caused the Bayesian to sink so quickly. It is still early stages, so you can only make some suppositions, some allegations. Well, some say that it could have been some of the hatches that were open, because what all the survivors said is that the yacht sank in a matter of minutes, in like 2 minutes, which means that a lot of water came in all at the same time. And so there could have been hatches open, or it could have been the mast. The Bayesian was sporting one of the tallest, if not the tallest, aluminum mast in the world at 250 feet. And for instance, I spoke on the phone this morning to a captain of a yacht that was anchored about 100 meters away, which also saved and rescued some of the survivors after they got on their the life raft, and he said that was incredibly tall, and that must, according to his experience, could have made the yacht lose the balance and tilt to one side and then sink quickly. But we'll have to wait until there are some details from the investigators, of course, to find out what happened.
And Claudio, quickly tell us what we know about the 6 people who are missing.
Yeah, sure. There's 6 people missing. One is Mike Lynch, who is a popular, well, famous British entrepreneur. He was branded on UK media as the Britain Bill Gates. His daughter is also missing. Also, Chris Morvillo, a lawyer based in New York. His wife and his wife Neda Morvillo. Also, Jonathan Bloomer, the chairman of Morgan Stanley International, and his wife Judy Bloomer. They're all missing and believed to be trapped still into that Bayesian at the bottom of the seafloor right behind me.
All right, Claudio, thank you very much. We know you'll stay on it.
In Los Angeles today, a judge is hearing arguments about what evidence can potentially be used in the upcoming trial of Hunter Biden, who faces federal tax charges there.
Yeah, he has pleaded not guilty to those charges, and that case is set to go before a jury in early September. It will be the 2nd criminal trial of the year for the president's son. He was convicted of 3 felony gun charges in a separate case back in June. NBC News legal analyst Angela Sanadella is here for more with what we can expect in this pre-trial hearing. Angela, good morning. Good to have you with us. So how does this evidence that's being argued over, by the way, for weeks now, impact the charges that Hunter Biden's facing?
So what will happen today is it's a status hearing, and the judge will weigh the evidence that both sides want to either include or exclude. And they are very relevant because the prosecution tends to want to paint the defendant in the most unflattering way possible. And then you have the defense attorneys who want to exclude that evidence because they say that is more prejudicial than probative. So here there seems to be 2 buckets of evidence that both sides are arguing over. The first is over how Hunter spent that money, allegedly. The prosecution is claiming that he spent it on things like drugs and escorts, things that were illegal. Now, the defendants obviously want to keep that outside and not include that because they want to say that that is too prejudicial to the defendant and not directly relevant to the tax charges. Now, the second main bucket, though, is about Hunter's alleged foreign business dealings, because the prosecutors here then similarly want to bring that in order to show that he did spend this money, and also to rebut what we see as the defendant's strategy here, which is that due to this drug addiction that he was in the throes of, that he was allegedly not of a willful mind to be able to pay his taxes. But the prosecution here is saying, well, look at all this other stuff he did. And so that's what they want to include.
Hunter Biden's team has tried to claim that prosecutors are, quote, bringing politically charged matters into the trial. Is that a strong argument, and how does the special counsel counter that?
Yeah, that is a strong argument, and that is directly related to these foreign business dealings. So David Weiss wants to bring in evidence of multiple dealings, and in particular, this new one about Romania. So they want to put up on the stand a business associate of Hunter's who is alleging that this Romanian business associate and Hunter together were attempting to influence U.S. policy abroad. Now, this is not necessarily something that has been thoroughly investigated otherwise, and so the defense does not want that included here, that it was a bribery investigation and that they wanted Hunter and this business associate allegedly involved to stop that investigation from happening in Romania, and that they structured it in the form of a real estate transaction, allegedly, and not in the form of a bribery.
Jury selection is scheduled to begin on September 5th. How much could change between now and then?
Yes, so we never know, right? We talked about George Santos, and then, a few days later, you see a plea agreement. So plea deals can happen at any time. We know what happened here was a plea deal originally happened, and then that fell through. So, we wait with bated breath. It's always possible there could be a plea.
All right, Angela Sanadella, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Well, fans of the popular podcast Call Her Daddy will soon have more options to listen in.
The podcast host, Alex Cooper, officially signed a multi-year deal with SiriusXM, valued at $100 million, ending her 3-year exclusive deal with Spotify. Now, she hosts this unfiltered podcast about dating and relationships that launched back in 2018. Last year, Spotify ranked it as the 2nd biggest podcast globally. Sean McNulty joins us now to break down what this means for SiriusXM and more. He's a contributor at The Ankler and creator and writer at The Wake Up. Good to have you with us. So this is a big deal, even if you're not part of Cooper's so-called daddy gang?
Yes, that's
my understanding. All right. Walk us through what we know about this deal with SiriusXM, what it means for her listeners. You can still hear it on Spotify, right? Just won't be exclusive?
Exactly. This podcast will be everywhere. It begins in 2025, so that's when her deal at Spotify is up. Spotify moved her podcast from an exclusive podcast to everywhere you can find podcasts earlier this year, and then a shift in their strategy. So from a listener point of view, you're really not going to hear or see too much different from her. If you listen to the podcast where you listen to it now, that won't change when this deal happens.
I mean, this is a huge deal. I've read so many articles, is there any money in podcasts? You hear about podcast departments being eliminated, and then you see a number like that for a podcast deal. We haven't heard from Spotify or SiriusXM commenting on this new deal yet, but what is Alex saying about it?
She's saying, that her daddy gang wants more. Exactly. So she's ready to give it to him. This is for her podcast network, which is called Unwell. She has a few other podcasts that she, works with there. People like Alex Earl, Harry Jowsey. So she wants to grow that out. And, they mentioned the $100 million number. There's been a number of up to $125 million. So if she gets to grow this network, and again, you're talking about advertising inventory, the more hit podcasts she has in her network, the more money she will make. So that is really her incentive to give her daddy gang more, not just of Alex Cooper, but of other personalities in the Unwell network, and to start doing more events are included in this as well. She did an Unwell tour at the end of last year. That was a big hit. So expect to see more of her around in real life in the future here.
This weekend, she's doing a whole birthday pop-up in the Hamptons that's related to her Unwell network. It's amazing, the events. And
these podcasts just spawn off so many other possibilities when they are profitable like this. She's just the latest major podcaster to either leave Spotify or end an exclusive relationship with them. Last month, Dax Shepard signed a deal with Amazon for his podcast Armchair Expert, which is hugely popular. February, the Joe Rogan Experience renewed its partnership deal with Spotify, but removed its exclusivity rights. So what's driving perhaps these big name podcasters to either distance themselves from Spotify, or perhaps it's just trying to grow a bigger audience beyond Spotify?
It's actually probably driven more by Spotify, who's looking to, frankly, cut costs. They had massive layoffs last year, and they finally, this year, are turning a profit. They were losing money for many years. They had spent so much money on podcasting, and it wasn't paying off in their financials. So this is really more a driver of Spotify saying, we don't need that exclusivity anymore. We're happy just having the podcast on our platform. As you said, they extended the deal with Joe Rogan for, I think it was $250 million, a huge payday. Wow. These are personality-driven podcasts. These are not the scripted serials and things of those lines that we saw in an earlier generation. All these names you mentioned, even Smartless made a deal for $100 million over at SiriusXM as well. Again, driven by personalities, not necessarily scripted drama, crime, those things that were hotter back maybe 3 to 5 years ago.
Sean, quickly, what do you think this says about the podcast industry? Is it alive and well, or does it take these specific superstars who get these big deals?
It's actually kind of mirroring, I'll even say, TV and film. If you have a hit, you have a hit, and you're going to make a lot of money. It's that middle ground that maybe was supported for a couple of years there that is feeling more of the pullback that we've seen in spending in the podcast arena. So if you have a hit, you're worth more than ever. But the gap between the top and the middle and the bottom is getting even further apart.
Very interesting. Sean McNulty, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Happy to be here.
Coming up, there is no place like home.
One of the most famous pair of shoes in Hollywood history, now one step closer to home, nearly 20 years after they were stolen. That's next on Morning News Now. Welcome back. It's official. Jennifer Lopez has filed for divorce from Ben Affleck after 2 years of marriage. A source close to the singer told NBC News that Lopez filed without an attorney at a Los Angeles courthouse yesterday. She is not seeking spousal support. The pair did not have a prenup agreement.
This news comes after months of speculation that their relationship was on the rocks. Bennifer, as they were known, first stole America's hearts back in 2003 when they originally got engaged. However, that first wedding got postponed, and then they eventually split up in 2004. Well, now, fast forward to 2021. The couple rekindled their romance and finally officially tied the knot in 2022. But it seems not all fairy tales have happy endings.
We wish them both the best. All right, let's end this hour with some iconic footwear. A pair of the ruby red slippers featured in The Wizard of Oz going up for auction in December, but they've had their own adventure after they were stolen from the Judy Garland Museum in Minnesota.
NBC News correspondent Emily Ikeda has the latest on the efforts to buy them back because, as we know, there's no place like home.
Follow the yellow brick road.
They've been called the holy grail of Hollywood memorabilia.
Follow the yellow brick road.
And Technicolor treasures.
Follow the yellow brick road. Follow the yellow brick road.
Dorothy's ruby slippers. There are just 4 known pairs today, and the Judy Garland Museum in the actress's childhood home in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, is hoping to score this storied set in an auction later this year.
Rural America deserves a pair, especially in the Midwest where the film took place.
The slippers have taken on a movie plot of their own. Vanishing from the Judy Garland Museum where they were on loan back in 2005. It wasn't until 2018 the FBI recovered the historic heels in a sting operation.
Well, they're more than just a pair of shoes, the slippers. They're an enduring symbol of the power of belief.
When people come to the museum, are they asking about the ruby slippers?
Oh, it's the most talked about conversation at the front desk.
Where the ruby slippers were stolen in 2005.
John Kelsch worked at the museum when the slippers were stolen and now offers tours all about it.
This is the door that was breached.
He dreams of seeing the shoes back on their former pedestal. But the yellow brick road to raising enough money is a long one for the museum in this city of just 11,000. The famed slippers are valued at $3.5 million. Early fundraising efforts are approaching $500,000. And as the Judy Garland Museum hopes others will see,
there's no place like home.
It's what they represent, is home. This pair needs a home.
And you're hoping it's here?
We hope it's here.
Emily Ikeda, NBC News, Grand Rapids, Minnesota.
Back to your home.
I'm hoping it's there, too. Good luck to them. All right, that is going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us. The news continues right now. Good morning. Thanks for joining us this Wednesday. I'm Savannah Sellers.
I'm Joe Fryer. Right now on Morning News Now, a fired-up former First family paving the way for a brand new ticket to the White House on an energetic day 2 of the DNC. Former President Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama hyping up that hometown Chicago crowd with red-hot rhetoric, going back-to-back with primetime speeches.
Kamala has shown her allegiance to this nation. She understands that most of us will never be afforded the grace of failing forward.
Kamala Harris won't be focused on her problems. She'll be focused on yours. America's ready for a new chapter. America's ready for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
We've got all the highlights, all the best moments from last night as we look ahead to what day 3 might bring. A ceasefire deal in the Middle East remains elusive this morning. Secretary of State Blinken heading back stateside after meeting with international mediators overseas, working to bring an end to nearly a year of violence.
Our message is simple, it's clear, and it's urgent. We need to get the ceasefire and hostage agreement over the finish line, and we need to do it now.
So what did we learn from this latest round of talks? We're going to bring you what we know in just a moment. Plus, the latest on that luxury yacht that capsized off the coast of Sicily, the race to rescue those 6 passengers still missing, as new video comes to light of the ship's last moments on the water's surface after being battered by Mother Nature. And later, we are going one-on-one with the world's fastest man. Olympic gold medalist Noah Lyles joins us here in studio for his take on a photo finish that gripped both Paris and the world.
We just can't shake the Olympics, and we love it.
We can't. We're just going to keep it going all year round.
Right into the Paralympics, by the way. Yeah.
Exactly. Those are coming up in just a few days here. All right, let's begin this hour with the Democratic National Convention. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz introducing himself to a national audience tonight.
Yeah, Vice President Harris's running mate will formally accept the VP Democratic nomination as the headliner tonight at the convention. Walz and Miss Harris took part in a campaign rally last night in Milwaukee at the same time the convention was going on. Former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama headlined day 2 and fired up the Democratic base as they made the case for Harris to voters. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander kicks off our coverage from Chicago.
Former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama providing a major political 1-2 punch overnight at the DNC.
I'm feeling fired up.
America, hope is making a comeback.
Starting with Michelle Obama electrifying the delegates.
Michelle Obama is asking you, no, I'm telling y'all to do something. This is our time to stand up for what we know in our hearts is right. To stand up, not just for our basic freedoms, but for decency and humanity, for basic respect, dignity, and empathy, for the values at the very foundation of this democracy.
And delivering a takedown of former President Trump, referencing the racist conspiracy theory Mr. Trump pushed for years against her husband.
Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hard-working, highly educated, successful people who happen to be black. Who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
Mr. Obama following his wife.
I am the only person stupid enough to speak after Michelle Obama.
Anointing Harris as a successor to the movement he began in 2008.
This convention has always been pretty good to kids with funny names who believe in a country where anything is possible.
While delivering his own attacks against Mr. Trump.
The people who will decide this election are asking a very simple question. Who will fight for me? Who's thinking about my future? Donald Trump is not losing sleep over that question. Here's a 78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems since he rode down his golden escalator 9 years ago. There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories, this weird obsession with crowd sizes.
The Obama speeches following a heartfelt address from the vice president's husband, Doug Emhoff, discussing what he called their blended family and describing his first awkward phone call to Harris.
I got Kamala's voicemail, and I just started rambling. Hey, it's Doug.
Earlier, Democrats putting a new spin on the roll call vote, featuring a DJ and a surprise performance by rapper Lil Jon. The vice president speaking from a packed Milwaukee arena, the same venue where Donald Trump recently accepted the Republican nomination.
We are so honored to be your nominees.
Mr. Trump campaigning in Michigan, leveling some attacks against Harris.
She is so far left that nobody can even imagine.
Back in Chicago, the Democratic Party's stars were preparing their rousing endorsement of Vice President Harris.
Our thanks to Peter Alexander for that report.
Let's bring in NBC News senior political editor Mark Murray. Mark, good to have you with us. So we can see the excitement at the DNC, but what does some of the polling data tell us about enthusiasm within the party and whether it has shifted in the last month?
Yeah, Joe, Democrats are certainly more enthusiastic than they were just a month ago. In our own NBC News poll, just 33% of Democratic voters said that they were satisfied with Joe Biden as the nominee. That was when he was still in the race. That is now at 81%, according to a CNBC poll, when they asked that exact same thing of Kamala Harris after she ended up becoming on the top of the ticket. So that change is real, and those polling numbers were before this Democratic convention.
Let's talk some specific issues. Let's start on the economy. I mean, this is a key one for voters heading into the fall election. Who do they feel is the better candidate when it comes to the economy?
Yeah, Savannah, we've talked about how a lot of the polling numbers have moved in the Democratic Party's direction, that enthusiasm. But when it comes to the economy, this is where Donald Trump continues to have an advantage over Kamala Harris, a 9-point advantage on who you end up trusting more on the issue, according to a Washington Post, ABC News Ipsos poll. And that is consistent with other polls that we've seen where Donald Trump does have the advantage on the economy, although it is a little bit smaller than it was when Joe Biden was the Democratic nominee.
And Mark, a recent CBS News YouGov poll takes a look at whether voters feel they know what the candidates stand for, something that's important, also sometimes that's elusive. Break down the numbers for us.
Yeah, this actually might be Kamala Harris's biggest remaining hurdle in this convention. A CBS poll found 64% of voters saying that they know what Kamala Harris stands for. That's 2/3 of voters. It's a good number, but it pales in comparison to the 86% who say that they know what Donald Trump stands for. This is what conventions are supposed to be done. And you ended up hearing from Doug Emhoff last night talking about Kamala Harris. You're going to end up seeing more tonight on Wednesday and also on Thursday when Harris formally accepts a Democratic nomination, for people to actually know what she stands for, the policies that she wants to push, and more on her biography.
All right, Mark Murray. Mark, thank you so much. And we will have much more from the Democratic National Convention throughout the day here on NBC News Now. Our extensive live coverage begins at 4 p.m. Eastern. We'll also have primetime coverage on NBC starting at 9 Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific time.
Well, U.S. officials say ceasefire talks in the Middle East will continue this week. It comes, though, as Secretary Blinken left the region without a deal in place. He says they hope and expect Hamas will follow Israel and accept what's called the bridging proposal from the U.S. NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez joins us from Tel Aviv. Raf, good morning.
Savannah, good morning. The Biden administration had hoped to get a ceasefire deal in place by the end of this week. That is no longer looking likely, with these talks stalled on familiar issues. But the Secretary of State says he's not giving up. This morning, as Israeli strikes continue to pound Gaza, hopes of an early ceasefire are slipping away. Overnight, Secretary Blinken wrapping up a 3-day trip to the Middle East, pushing an American plan to pause the fighting and free the hostages, and trying to reach a deal this week. But while Israel has agreed to the U.S. proposal, Hamas is rejecting it, and negotiations once again at a stalemate. Deadlocked on key issues like whether Israeli forces will stay at checkpoints inside Gaza and remain in control of the Egypt-Gaza border. Blinken urging Hamas to accept the deal and insisting he isn't giving up.
These things sometimes take more time than you want. What we are all united on is the urgency of the moment. With every passing day, more bad things can happen to more good people who don't deserve it.
Fears time is running out for the hostages after 6 more bodies were recovered from a Gaza tunnel by the IDF.
And Hamas continues to hold another 109 hostages, including children, women, and the elderly.
79-year-old grandfather Avraham Munder was among the oldest hostages. He'll be buried today in Nir Oz, the kibbutz where he was kidnapped and lived for more than 50 years. And at Gaza's Nasser hospital, it's the very youngest caught in the fighting. This baby terrified, though thankfully not badly injured. But hospital authorities say 3 women were killed in the Israeli airstrike near Han Yunis. The IDF did not supply information about the strike, but says Hamas deliberately hides among civilians. Every day without a ceasefire, paid for in human lives.
Now, the failure to get a deal not only extending the suffering of the hostages and of Palestinian civilians, but it also means Iran and Hezbollah have no reason, really, to hold off on their retaliation against Israel for the assassination of those 2 senior militants. And earlier today, we saw Hezbollah firing dozens of rockets into a village in the Israeli-controlled Golan Heights. Savannah.
All right, Raf, thank you so much.
Now to Italy, where divers have resumed their search for 6 people who were aboard a luxury yacht when it sank off the coast of Sicily. We're also learning more about what may have caused that ship to sink. NBC News international correspondent Claudio Lavaga is in Sicily and joins us now with the latest. Claudio, good morning. So what do we know about the efforts to reach those missing passengers, and what are some of the biggest obstacles that are hampering search crew efforts?
Good morning, guys. Well, the search continues for the 6 missing people right there. I mean, you probably see them as dots in the distance, but there are several boats there with several teams of divers who are diving at a depth of 170 feet under the surface of the water. That's where, on the seabed, that's where the yacht is currently lying on its side. Well, what I spoke to the divers this morning, or some of the divers this morning, and they told me that it's a very difficult operation. First of all, because it's very deep. By the time they reach the Bayesian at the bottom of the seabed, they only have 10 minutes left to try to get into the yacht and identify those missing before they need to just re-emerge and then just change with another team because of a number of reasons. Well, first of all, oxygen, but also because of the depth of the location where in the seabed where the yacht is currently. But you know, of course, they said that they're now trying to open a way through to get into the Bayesian without having to be blocked by all that debris that is inside, that is stopping them from getting to the cabins where they think that those 6 people missing are, because it was 4 o'clock in the morning. And so the idea here, this supposition, is that they were still sleeping when they got caught into the storm, and then because of the ship sank so quickly, they were trapped and didn't manage to get out quickly enough. Back to you guys.
Claudio, if the missing passengers are still in the ship's hull, would they have supplies to stay alive while crews try to reach them? If so, for how long?
Well, the hope to find them alive, of course, is fading by the hour. It has been more than 50 hours since that yacht sunk early on Monday morning. So it would be a miracle if any of them survived. Certainly, there is a possibility that they may have found an air bubble into the yacht and they may still be alive. But also the fact that all the survivors say that the ship sunk in a matter of minutes, in just 2 minutes, with so much water coming in, that may have left not much time for those people to find a place that will be safe inside the hull or an air bubble inside the yacht. But of course, you know, we'll have to wait until the search, while the search continues for them. Back to you, Joe.
Claudio, how frequently do we see storms like this in this area? And have officials indicated just how rare it is for a ship like this to sink?
Well, meteorologists are saying that these kind of storms, this kind of hurricane type storms in Italy were not so frequent in the past, but they are becoming more frequent now. And they say it is all down to climate change, because climate change, the water in the Mediterranean is warming up, is getting warmer and warmer. I actually read just last week that the average temperature in the Mediterranean, in the waters in the Mediterranean in August, was about 28 degrees Celsius. That is like a warm bath, essentially. And the more the water it becomes hot, and when an influx of cold air comes in, all of a sudden, then it can form these very violent hurricanes, and it also can form these water spouts, which we haven't seen much in Italy in the past, but we keep seeing now. In the past week, I've seen in the news, you know, not only here, but in Apulia, in the south of Italy, elsewhere in the south of Italy. So they are becoming more and more frequent, and meteorologists say it's all down to climate change, guys.
All right. Claudio Labanga in Sicily. Claudio, thank you.
Now to the latest in those University of Idaho murders. The battle over where Bryan Kohberger's trial will be held next summer is intensifying. Kohberger is accused of murdering 4 students at an off-campus home 2 years ago. His legal team is trying to have the case moved to another county, arguing that he cannot receive a fair trial. NBC News senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett has the details.
Hey there, this case finally has a trial date, but where it actually happens, that's still up in the air. Right now, Bryan Kohberger's trial is set to be held in Latah County. That's where the killings of those 4 students happened. But his lawyers say that jury pool there is just hopelessly tainted against him.
This is State of Idaho versus Bryan Kohberger.
They're calling it a mob mentality. That's how lawyers for Bryan Kohberger describe the current atmosphere in the area where he stands accused of that grisly quadruple murder.
Right now, he's being held to have a trial in a county that believes that he is guilty.
The defense team making one last push to get the trial moved 300 miles south to Boise, Idaho, the state's capital. In a new court filing, defense lawyers now point to damning quotes from residents they surveyed in Latah County, saying if Kohberger wasn't found guilty, there would likely be a riot, and he wouldn't last long outside because someone would do the good old boy justice. Another allegedly saying they'd burn the courthouse down. The defense expert who conducted the survey testified in April about the frenzy of media attention surrounding the case.
There's been quite a bit of discussion, spread of rumors, misinformation, factual information all over social media, which you'd expect in small communities such as this.
But prosecutors are pushing to keep the case where it is, saying the defense has failed to show that a change of venue is necessary or convenient.
This case has national, if not international, attention.
Kohberger is currently set to stand trial next summer for the murders of Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonsalves, and Madison Mogan in an off-campus home near the University of Idaho. A judge entered a plea of not guilty on Kohberger's behalf. Now, 21 months after the killings shook the college town, the community of Moscow will unveil a healing garden and memorial in their honor later today.
How do we present the liveliness of these people? Like, they may be gone now, but we don't want to lose that amazing spirit that each of those individuals had.
The judge overseeing this case is expected to hold a hearing on the change of venue motion formally next Thursday. Back to you.
All right, Laura, thank you so much.
Time now for a check on your morning news. Now weather. Summer storms are brewing across Florida this morning.
Angie Lastman's back and tracking it all for us. Hey, Angie, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning to you. We've got some storms to talk about. Of course, across the state of Florida, you might have run into some of those yesterday. We've also got a couple of spots that we're going to track across parts of the Rockies. Otherwise, plenty of clear skies for the Northeast. We've got a little batch of rain that's working into parts of the interior New England. But it's really Florida that we're going to be concerned for that flash flooding here as not just today goes on, but even into the rest of our work week. We've got a front that's just hanging around. It's stalled out across the northern parts of the peninsula, and that's leaving us with some instability. We're going to see kind of the unsettled pattern last year with some scattered showers and a few thunderstorms. Some of those, though, could pack a punch when it comes to the rainfall amounts. We're not necessarily looking for severe weather in the way of strong winds or even hail, although we could see a couple of these thunderstorms developing. But it's more so that we have plenty of rain in the picture, and we could see some of these really saturated grounds picking up some additional rainfall. So heads up for that. We'll see the flash flooding concern lasting at least through the next 2 days before we start to round out our work week and get that front out of the picture. Rainfall totals ranging from anywhere from about 1 inch to 2 inches in some of the higher amounts, but I think isolated amounts up to 3 inches would be possible across the state. And this is going to go through the end of the work week, so we'll need the umbrella for sure if you're going to be out and about across the state of Florida over the next few days. Meanwhile, in Texas, it's the temperatures that are really going to get your attention. We've got 22 million people still under these heat alerts. You can see the heat warnings in effect for Houston, San Antonio, San Angelo. Most of it is centered across parts of Texas, but a little sliver of Oklahoma and parts of New Mexico also included in this, and these likely are going to stay in the picture here for the next couple of days. A bit of a different story, though, is what's going on temperature-wise across the Great Lakes, the Midwest, the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic. It honestly feels really good. You might have noticed when you stepped out the door yesterday, the temperatures were on the cool side of things, and really for August, that's exactly where we're going to stay across this region. We've got mid-70s. That's it for the high in Chicago today. Upper 70s for Louisville. Notice how much cooler than normal it is in Louisville today for that afternoon temperature. We're running more than 10 degrees below normal for this time of year, so a little kind of taste of fall across the Northeast and parts of the Ohio Valley. We end up into the low 80s in Washington, D.C. tomorrow, so not bad, but temperatures just topping out into the mid-70s for Boston for your Thursday. Now, warmer by the weekend, so if you're looking for maybe that last taste of summer, I don't want to say last, but maybe another taste of summer, I suppose, we'll see temperatures go from the low 80s to the mid-80s through Friday to Sunday in New York City. Check out Kansas City, though. 89 by Friday, 97 on Sunday. So really going to feel like summer for folks there. We'll see the hot and humid conditions lasting across parts of Texas, those triple digits for sure today, but they last all the way through the weekend, guys. Plenty of sunshine, though, for most of the east. I think it's just going to be Florida, really, that we have to watch for some of the rain chances as we get into Friday for the eastern half of the country. The western half of the country will have a couple of showers across the Southwest and the Pacific Northwest. But looking ahead to your Saturday, that heat will expand across parts of the Great Lakes. We'll get back to those temperatures into the upper 80s. Savannah is happy about this. We'll be back to the mid-80s in New York.
Nice.
Still the rain, though, in Florida, so not really living up to its nickname of the Sunshine State, guys. And then by Sunday. Still sunny, still hot. For most of us, we'll have just a couple of, no surprise, rain chances in Florida to wrap up our weekend.
All right. Looks like a consistent forecast over the course of the few
making
days
my life
there.
easy.
There you
Nice
go.
up here. Thanks, Angie. Coming up on this hour of Morning News Now, we are right in the middle of back to school season.
But amid a summer surge in COVID cases, parents and teachers alike are asking, how sick is too sick to head to class? The doctor is in with everything you need to know next. With the school year now underway for many, we are seeing an increase in COVID cases across the U.S. It's raising the question, how sick is too sick for a child to go to class?
At the same time, schools are fighting high absence rates. So nearly 1 in 4 students remain what's known as chronically absent from school. That means missing about 10% of the year. That is according to recent data analyzed by the Associated Press. We have NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar here with more. Good morning. Let's start on COVID because the guidance has changed for all different types of things, you know, when you test, when you mask, all that kind of stuff, but also what you do when you test positive. What does this mean for kids in school?
So the biggest change, and I think we're all, this is welcome news, and we've been waiting for this for a couple of years, is that the CDC is now treating COVID the way they have treated other respiratory viruses in the past, like RSV and flu. And basically the guidance is this: you need to be fever-free for 24 hours without using a fever-reducing medication like a Tylenol or an Advil, and your symptoms need to be improving, and then you're basically allowed to go back out in the world. Now, should you still mask, that kind of thing? I think it's not mandated anymore. We know that you can still be contagious when your symptoms have improved, but basically the take-home is, even if you test positive for COVID, 24 hours fever-free without fever-reducing medication, you can send your kids back to school.
So I've noticed, like, especially when it comes to kids, but even adults, all right, I've tested, I don't have COVID, so I'm going to go out into the world and spread my germs. On the other end, you have the parents who their kids show any sign of sickness and they keep them home. What's the best advice to parents as to when their kids should actually stay home versus
going to school? So we know little kids and adults have runny nose and they have headaches and they have little coughs that are kind of dry. You can send them to school in that scenario. When is a cough too much for school? If it's really hacking, if it's productive, if it's associated with a fever, which brings us to, if your child has a fever, that's basically 100 or 101 or higher, or if they have vomiting, or if they have diarrhea within 24 hours of you trying to send them back, you want to keep them home. Those are the kinds of things, especially with vomiting and diarrhea, those things are so contagious that you just don't want your kids going back to school. And I think the last thing to tell parents is, if your child is sitting at home and they're lethargic and they're not feeling well and you just don't think they're going to be able to participate, okay to keep them home. But just, you know, these little, like, I have a little sniffle or you're going to school.
Yeah, especially with those absence rates.
Exactly.
What can parents do at home to try to be proactive? You know, I mean, we know washing hands and things like that, but what else can be proactive about trying to keep kids healthy as best you can?
So I know, you know, there's still going to be a lot of debate and controversy among parents about keeping their kids vaccinated and up to date with COVID vax, but remember the flu shot every year. And remember to keep your child up to date on all their other childhood vaccinations that will help prevent them from getting sick for things that are vaccine preventable. Hand washing, even though we sort of go, yeah, we know. Teach your kids again. Hand washing is so important, and keeping their hands away from their face. That's how they introduce, germs into their bodies. And where you can, open air, filters, that kind of thing, those kinds of practices at home and hopefully in school will help keep your kids from getting sick as well.
I know there's worry that when we send kids back to school, sicknesses just tend to go up. It's like germ factories, and then they bring everything home. Is that the worry here, especially with COVID cases high right now? Keeping in mind, also, kids didn't seem to always get COVID as much as adults did.
Yeah, you know what? I think we really saw that, real bump in respiratory viruses right when we came out of lockdown. I think things have kind of evened out now. But we know, respiratory viruses are very contagious and very communicable. So when your kids are back in the school environment, they're going to get each other sick and they're going to get you sick. That's just the way of life. But those kinds of illnesses are okay, right? That's how we train our immune system to be better able to fight that virus the next time we're exposed to them. So as long as they're not getting severely ill, those little childhood viruses, they're an important part of growing up.
That's kind of interesting because I think we've been so used to how do we prevent sickness?
Yes.
A reminder that sometimes for kids it's good.
It's good. And also play in the dirt.
Yeah.
Playing the dirt.
Eat the dirt.
Thanks, Joe.
Sample the dirt. All right.
Sample the dirt.
All right, Dr. Natalie Azar, good to have you with us. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Well, coming up, we are headed back to Paris this morning.
Yeah, we are here in New York, but after the break, we're going to be live one-on-one with Olympic gold medalist Noah Lyles, the newest world's fastest man. He joins us next. This is Morning News Now. Welcome back. So this year's Olympics might be in the history books, but it is never too late to look back at the athletes who delivered some of the most dramatic performances that we have ever seen.
Yeah, and you might remember the new fastest man in the world was crowned during the men's 100-meter race. A thrilling moment from the Paris Games. It came down to this photo finish for the gold medal. The winner, none other than U.S. sprinter Noah Lyles. And we are so lucky that he's live in studio with us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome home.
Oh, thank you.
Look at the multiple medals, by the way. We just only mentioned the 100-meter, but you do also have another medal around your neck.
Yeah.
What is it like to be back home, and specifically this title, the world's fastest man, to be granted that?
It's good to be back home. I've kind of been a little bit in hiding in my little town of Claremont. It's a nice, relaxing place before I start going out on my gold medal tour, as I call it.
I love that.
What does that tour look like?
It looks like a lot of running around this building.
Thank you.
It's some L.A., coming back to New York, going to Alexandria, Virginia. They want to throw me a parade. I'm going to Charlotte, North Carolina. A lot of the places that I call home over the years.
We've got him sprinting around this building, just in case you're wondering. Let's talk about the 200-meter. You got the bronze despite the fact that you had COVID. As you were preparing for that race, was there a moment where you said, for my health, maybe I shouldn't race, or worried about maybe getting other athletes sick? What was going through your mind as you tried to make that decision?
Yeah, of course, after hearing the diagnosis, as an athlete, I was saying, you know, no matter what, I'm going to fight through this. You know, as a competitor and as, you know, taking health into consideration, you know, we were very much in communications with the doctors saying, hey, what's the rules on this? IOC is like, as long as you guys stay, you know, away from everybody else and you quarantine, you know, you're allowed to compete. We made sure that I was already moved to a hotel away from the village. We were making sure that I was nowhere near the other athletes. I was in the corner of the practice track. I was constantly wearing a mask the whole time. You know, only doctors allowed to work on me had to, you know, be wearing a mask and gloves. You know, and I even kept on the mask all the way till we got to actually on the track. And even going into the medal ceremony, you know, we were contacting the other athletes and the, you know, the medal presenters saying, hey, are you guys okay? This is the situation. You know, would you feel comfortable? Because the last thing I wanted to do was, you know, get somebody sick that, you know, didn't know the situation of what was going on.
Absolutely. Gosh, it's just one of those reminders, like, you are an Olympian, we are not. When you don't feel good and you have COVID, the fact that you were able to do that.
I mean, I've been fighting my whole life. You know, I've been fighting through asthma since I was born. You know, I've severe allergies. You know, and I've had H1N1. You know, I've had almost any sickness that over the years that's been considered like a viral issue. So I've just been fighting through sickness. So when hearing COVID, I'm like, okay, here's just another hurdle that I have to overcome. You know, I'm a fighter. This is what I do.
And that viral tweet of yours talking about those hurdles was just so cool to kind of level with everybody. It was amazing to see. Okay, we got to ask you about this. So obviously you're known for your competitive spirit. You kind of just referenced that, been fighting. Now some people are coming out saying they want to challenge you now that you're done with the Paris Games. NFL star Tyreek Hill, what do we think? Are we racing?
Everybody wants to challenge the best. So you know, whoever wants to, you know, try and get it, they're always going to be, you know, trying to come after the world's fastest man. Look, I'm world's fastest man for a reason. I fought to get up here. Nobody gets an easy pass up to the challenge of the belt. Now, I don't do gimmicks, but if somebody wants to put together the money and it looks good and we're actually running 100, because you challenged me, so we're challenging for the world's fastest title, and that's running for the 100. We can have talks.
I was about to ask you, is this all in good fun? It feels like it's more than good fun, isn't it?
I mean, other people are enjoying it more than I feel. I'm just going throughout my day. Everybody getting challenged on the street is very normal for me, I'd say.
What you have been so candid about dealing with anxiety and depression and dyslexia and ADHD. You must be hearing from people about the inspiration you have been to them. What is the biggest message you have for folks who are dealing with these hurdles? and trying to overcome them.
Yeah, we talk about it a lot, especially with my nonprofit, the Laos Brothers Sports Foundation, and we're actually doing an event with All True, you know, asking people to, you know, sign up, and you get to win a trip to come out to one of my track meets and get an individual, you know, spot to meet. But we constantly go on tour, public speaking to kids, talking about how important it is to, one, know that you're loved, of course, and what your gift is, because we all have different gifts. I'm no different than you, truly. You call me an Olympian, but I just have a talent that is seen in a different light. You know, I can't come up here and do your job. You know, we all have...
Oh, you'd be surprised.
Thank you.
Want to try?
But we do have these different gifts, and no matter your upbringing and no matter the battle that you have to go through, that doesn't define who you are, and that doesn't define what you can do in the future.
That is a great message.
What a great message. Noah Lyles, fastest man in the world. Thank you for joining us.
And World Championships coming, right, in September?
World Championships, and I already have the buy, so I will definitely be there.
All right.
September, Tokyo.
We can't wait. All right, Noah, thank you so much. And the games aren't over yet. In just 1 week, the Paralympics are set to begin in Paris. You can even watch more of the world's best in all the events on NBC and Peacock.
Oh, so exciting.
All right, coming up, we're going to take you back to Chicago this morning with the fiery return of a former First Family to the DNC stage.
After the break, how the Obamas made their case for a changing of the Democratic Guard and a Harris-Walz victory come November. Stick around. It's up next.
We're back with a big return for Barack and Michelle Obama.
Yeah, the former president and former first lady, who have largely stayed out of the political spotlight since leaving the White House, jumped right back in with fiery back-to-back speeches at the DNC on Tuesday. Here's NBC News Now anchor Holly Jackson with more.
Hey there, good morning to you. What we saw from the Obamas here at the United Center was that endorsement of Kamala Harris, that indictment of Donald Trump, and a spotlight on two of the party's most prominent figures in a high-profile, primetime return to the political stage. For Barack and Michelle Obama, a literal and political homecoming in Chicago, throwing their political weight behind Vice President Harris.
My girl, Kamala Harris, is more than ready for this moment.
For the former First Lady, a shift in tone from one of the most memorable lines of the 2016 convention when Hillary Clinton prepared to face Donald Trump. Michelle Obama, back then, not mentioning Mr. Trump's name.
Our motto is, when they go low, we go high.
But now?
It's his same old con. His same old con. Doubling down on ugly, misogynistic, racist lies.
The last couple of months, a delicate dance, waiting to endorse Harris while giving space to his former number two after President Biden ended his re-election bid.
I am proud to call him my president, but I am even prouder to call him my friend.
Behind the scenes, former President Obama has been in regular contact with Vice President Harris, with some of his former staffers joining her campaign. Both Obamas remain very popular in the party, but have largely shied away from roles as political kingmakers, choosing instead to pursue other interests, including partnering with Netflix to release documentaries and feature films.
You let people tell their own story.
Each also releasing best-selling memoirs, and Mr. Obama even joining Bruce Springsteen for a podcast series. Last night, former President Obama criticizing Mr. Trump, but also urging Americans to listen to each other.
If a parent or grandparent occasionally says something that makes us cringe, we don't automatically assume they're bad people. We recognize that the world is moving fast, that they need time and maybe a little encouragement to catch up.
Tuesday's speech coming just over 2 decades after a then unknown Illinois state legislator burst onto the national political stage at the 2004 DNC.
There is not a liberal America and a conservative America. There is the United States of America.
4 years later, Kamala Harris among those who knocked on doors in Iowa to help then freshman Senator Obama pull off an upset win in the caucuses, helping to propel him to the White House as the nation's first black president. Now, the Obamas hoping to usher in a new changing of the guard for their party.
Let us work like our lives depend on it.
Remember, these two individuals, you've got former President Obama, Vice President Harris, have had a relationship dating back decades. Kamala Harris was an early endorser of the former president back when he was then a senator in his first run for the White House. We understand they have been in regular contact since President Biden dropped out of the ticket and Kamala Harris became, of course, the top of the Democratic 2024 ticket. And keep in mind that the Obamas in the past have had this role as kind of campaign closers, coming in towards the end of the race in these key battleground states to really try to boost turnout. Back to you.
All right, Hallie, thank you. Well, sticking with the DNC now, one group is giving black men a safe space for open discussion while in Chicago.
The Black Man Lab is an Atlanta-based organization that meets every week to talk about issues like politics, civic engagement, and social justice. For the last 2 nights, some of those men have been meeting with locals in Chicago with a focus on this year's presidential election. NBC News correspondent Tremaine Lee joins us from Chicago with more on this. Tremaine, good morning. So that session brought together, I believe, more than 100 attendees. What did you hear from them? How are they feeling about Vice President Harris as the Democratic Party's nominee?
Good morning, Joe. I'll tell you what, we're talking about this shift in energy that we felt over the last month. And in this room, having these conversations, you can tell there's like a breath of fresh air and energy. The conversations among these men and their families has changed dramatically from just a little more than a month ago. But again, as we heat up, getting closer to the election, these folks are making decisions. Some are still on fence, some are decided. But either way, there's a dynamic shift in the air. Check it out.
I will admit, when I thought it was going to be Biden for the Democratic Party, I honestly felt like Trump would have beat Biden. Since Kamala's come along, I think we really have a good shot at it.
With Kamala, I get a little bit of hope, but I'm also kind of saddened by how people that look like me have talked about her ever since it's come up. You don't want to give her a chance? You'd rather give him a chance?
There is so much kind of back and forth in deciding where to stand, but again, these folks are practical and pragmatic, and they're making decisions.
Tremaine, let's talk about the election as a whole. What did they say now about the head-to-head matchup, given the candidates at this point, and how either VP Harris or former President Donald Trump has particularly benefited black voters?
I'll tell you what, Savannah, their opinions were kind of as diverse as this group, is cross-generational group from various cities in the Midwest and the South. Some, recognize what they believe is Donald Trump being an existential threat to democracy and black life. And on the other hand, many would say that, Joe Biden's gains have been unheralded, lowering prescription drug costs, college debt, all the work on the infrastructure. But again, they're having these conversations openly and honestly. Here's a little more.
I kind of feel cheated. I kind of feel like I'm being forced to make a decision that I don't want to make on either candidate.
I don't feel cheated. I feel excited about the fact that we have a chance to make history again. And in doing that, I'm a part of that.
That's the one thing about these conversations, that folks are paying attention. There's certainly excitement, but it also belies what many black men feel is a disconnect or a disengagement. And so there's always this little bit of skepticism. Regardless of who you vote for, will our lives, will the lives of our children and our families and our communities be any better?
Tremaine, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Financial headlines now. The Biden administration's proposed ban on non-compete agreements taking a major legal hit.
CNBC's Silvana Henao joins us with that and other news. Silvana, good morning.
Hey, Savannah. Hey, Joe. Good morning to you. Yes, so a federal judge striking down a Biden administration rule banning non-compete agreements, which are commonly signed by workers to keep them from joining rival companies for a set period of time or launching their own competing business. The judge says the Federal Trade Commission doesn't have the authority to ban practices it deems are unfair by adopting broad rules. The rule was set to take effect next month. Meanwhile, Uber is hiring a former Tesla executive to oversee the ride-hailing platform's shift to electric vehicles. Now, that's according to a memo seen by Reuters. Uber plans to electrify its entire fleet by 2040 and invest $800 million through next year to help reach that goal. Rebecca Tanucci led Tesla's charging business before CEO Elon Musk disbanded most of the team as part of cost cuts. And Beyonce is getting into the luxury liquor business, teaming with Moet Hennessy to launch a new whiskey line called Sir Davis. The superstar joins Mark Wahlberg, George Clooney, and other celebs using their status to elevate premium liquor brands. Sir Davis is named for Beyonce's great-grandfather, who stashed whiskey bottles as a farmer during Prohibition. The whiskey is 51% rye and 49% malted barley. Sir Davis will be available starting next month for $89 a bottle, guys.
Right. Poignant backstory there with the name.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
Savannah, thanks so much. Appreciate
You
it.
got it.
Coming up, Hollywood power couple Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck now calling it quits again.
What we're learning about their divorce after rumors swirled for months that their relationship was on the rocks. That's next on Morning News Now. After just 2 years of marriage, Jennifer Lopez is filing for divorce from Ben Affleck. The pair, known as Bennifer, has been one of America's favorite couples since their first engagement back in 2003. But back then, well, they split up a year later.
Fans were captivated by the love story when they rekindled their romance almost 2 decades after that, and then officially tied the knot in 2022. NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas has the latest on their split.
Hey there, NBC News has learned that Lopez filed for divorce yesterday in Los Angeles without a lawyer. A source telling us that the couple did not have a prenup and that the date of separation in those divorce documents is listed as back in April. All of it coming just days after Lopez was spotted at Affleck's home on his 52nd birthday.
After months of speculation about the state of their marriage, the superstar couple known as Bennifer is going their separate ways. A source close to the singer telling NBC News, Jennifer Lopez filed for divorce from Ben Affleck in Los Angeles on Tuesday without an attorney, adding that Lopez, who had been married to Affleck for just 2 years, is not seeking spousal support, despite the fact that the couple did not have a prenup agreement. The news comes after reports that there was trouble in paradise for the couple, who had not been spotted together publicly since June, spending their birthdays and wedding anniversary apart this summer, even putting their sprawling $60 million Beverly Hills mansion up for sale. According to a source close to Lopez, the divorce documents indicate the couple separated on April 26th. The split coming just months after the release of the Amazon documentary, The Greatest Love Story Never Told, which provided a look inside their relationship.
Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, 2001 and 2021 and counting.
But I don't work like this. You got that?
It's been years of ups and downs for the couple, who first met on the set of Geely in 2002. The stars getting engaged just months after meeting. Lopez described their love on Today in 2002.
Somebody standing by your side who supports you, who understands what you're going through, and is your best friend.
But despite their whirlwind romance, the couple called off their 2003 wedding, blaming excessive media attention and officially ending their relationship the following year. After that split, Lopez would marry her third husband, musician Mark Anthony, and Affleck would tie the knot with actress Jennifer Garner. But nearly 18 years later, Lopez and Affleck found their way back to each other, going public on Instagram with their renewed relationship on Lopez's 52nd birthday in 2021. The couple was engaged the following year and then said "I do" just a few months later in Las Vegas, later celebrating their marriage at a big bash in Georgia. Lopez telling Hoda in February her feelings for Affleck were as strong as ever.
You know, he inspires me and obviously inspired, like, the feelings between us inspired me making this music.
Now their comeback love story won't have the happy ending so many fans were hoping for.
So far, the couple has not said anything publicly. NBC News, we've reached out to both of their representatives for comment. Back to you.
All right, Chloe, thank you.
Finally this hour, from Johnny Cash's first black suit to an original song manuscript handwritten by Hank Williams, these hard-to-find items are now on display.
NBC News correspondent Kathy Park takes an exclusive look at the largest private collection of country music artifacts at their new home in Nashville.
Hey guys, good morning. Yeah, this is a rare collection, decades in the making, and the man behind it all is country music legend Marty Stewart. He spent a lifetime performing on stage, but behind the scenes he was collecting and preserving the treasures of country music, and we got a closer look.
These icons of country music made their mark through songs that have withstood the test of time, like Dolly Parton's Jolene. But the outfits, instruments, and personal mementos that help make them shine often slipped away.
I walked in a junk shop one day in Nashville on 8th Avenue, and there was a beautifully hand-tooled makeup kit. and it said Patsy Cline.
That's when the ultimate fan and treasure hunter, Marty Stewart, began his mission rescuing relics of country music with the help of friends, fans, and even strangers.
So out of the closet comes that shirt, Hank Williams shirt.
It's a world he knew all too well.
This is Loretta Lynn's little dress. That's Patsy Cline's dress. And this was a dress that Patsy's mom sewed for her.
Having toured with Lester Flatt and Johnny Cash before building a successful solo career.
Heard myself singing on a television show.
He shared some of those stories, now a part of country music history.
This is a world-class piece right here.
Johnny Cash was in his 20s when he wore his first black suit on stage.
Well, Grandma Cash, not to be outdone, went to JCPenney and bought this edging here and edged her little boy's suit so he would pop a little bit.
And he wrote, "Don't take your guns to town" on this custom Gibson guitar.
He changed his clothes and shined his boots and combed his dark hair down.
And this bright green dress,
you'll never guess whose this is,
was once worn by Dolly Parton in the 70s on the Porter Wagner Show and given to Stewart for his collection.
Well, this came from her.
Yeah,
okay. I mean, it came, this is the one she chose and sent over.
Over the years, Stewart collected roughly 22,000 items, which will now be a part of the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum in Nashville.
How rare is a collection like this?
There's only one, and had he not done it, I'm not too sure if these things would even exist anymore.
A longtime caretaker of the spirit of country music, now sharing it for the world to see up close.
They're part of the essence of who I am. They're part of my heart, but they're a greater part of me here.
Now, this collection is so massive, archivists say they will likely take a year to catalog each and every one of these items. But the good news is several pieces are on display right now for the public to view. Back to you.
All right, Kathy, thank you. That is quite the collection.
Quite the collection. We're both country music fans,
yes,
right?
exactly.
Yeah, so
I fell in love with country music living in Nashville.
There you go. Oh,
so there you go.
Awesome to see.
That is going to do it for this hour of Morning News Now.
Stay with us, though. The news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.